Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, out on another walk. And this time, I'm in Sussex and I'm on what looks like a farm, but it's not just any old farm. I'm actually at the Sussex Horse Rescue Centre. And somebody who likes horses, who loves horses and is addicted to horses, although you haven't done a lot of horsey stuff on our videos as yet.
No, we haven't.
But that may change. So yeah, we have come to the Sussex Horse Rescue Centre. Sanctuary, yeah, and we may well be doing some other bits and bobs here. So today we're just going to have a little look round and see what the facilities are, hopefully see some donkeys and maybe some horses, which will be very exciting. So we should say that we've actually had a quick recce, haven't we,
yes.
Julia? And we've seen some amazing horses, actually, and donkeys.
And dog.
And dog. Which have now been moved about as we happen to come round, but you can see that they've got a paddock here which is empty, although there's a couple of people there looking after some horses down there. These are all rescue horses, aren't they?
Yes, all been rescued from difficult situations through illness or through neglect, and they tend to try to only take the worst cases because, well, honestly, there's an awful lot of animals needing rescue, but there's very little spaces for them to go.
So in a way it's a bit like the RSPCA dog sanctuaries and cat homes and that sort of thing.
Very much so in that way. And
the object is to rescue the horses, treat them, look after them and then find homes for them.
Ultimately to rehabilitate them and get them into forever homes. But the sanctuary they don't tend to give up complete ownership of the animals so that they can keep checking on them and making sure that they're in the right place.
So we're just walking through all these farm buildings, lovely barns and what have you. It's quite a large acre. I think that something like 28 acres, I think he said.
That's amazing.
Of sanctuary space. Now we came up here a little earlier and there were donkeys, lots of donkeys. They've actually just been led out onto the field, so hopefully we'll get to see some of those.
Yeah.
There was a farrier here.
That's right.
What does a farrier do, Julia?
Well, farriers take care of the feet of the equines. So they'll trim the feet and they'll replace shoes and things. And some farriers are actually getting into the barefoot thing, where there's a classic example is that the Mustang roll, where the front of the hoof is curved.
Right.
So it kind of the hoof rolls off like that, and it's called a Mustang roll because you'll find that in the wild Mustangs.
Oh, okay. So I don't understand the barefoot thing.
Barefoot, yeah, as in no shoe.
Oh, I see.
No shoe. So.
And what's the advantage to the animal?
Well, so long as it's not on roads too often, and running or doing heavy work like that on hard surfaces, it's much better for the animal because you're not going to accidentally lose a shoe and then natural get nails in the places you don't want them. It's just a more natural
thing. So this, as we saw earlier, we had the farriers attending to these donkeys. The question that now it's sort of empty, as I say, and they're all out into this field over there, which we will go and do a walk round. So we'll have to, I saw a little rabbit then. We'll have to backtrack a bit and go up what they call the avenue, and we should also see some horses.
The reason I was mentioning about the barefoot thing is because all of the donkeys are kept barefoot. There is no need for them to have shoes.
Oh, okay. So here's a question that is bothering me at the moment. You hear about these donkeys, and there are loads of donkeys.
Yeah.
But why do people have donkeys? What are they used for these days?
They are generally companion pets for the other animals, for horses, generally. But they're also quite good at being guardian animals.
To guard what?
To guard the herds and things like that.
Oh, I see. Oh, so farmers would have them?
Yes,
right.
Farmers would have them, and other people, country type people who adore them because there's just something about the donkey that.
So is it also like a trainer for children to ride before they ride a horse?
Yes, they're generally ridden more at resorts and stuff like that. And,
right.
And although of course that's been put to a stop, thankfully. You generally only get them in places where they actually look after the animals all the time, rather than just a seasonal thing and then they get dumped out for the winter or whatever. But so usually I only find it in sanctuaries and stuff now anyway, where you can get pony or donkey rides.
Oh, there we go, there's a screaming horse.
That's just a whinny.
Oh, it's a whinny, is it?
Yeah, it's just letting everyone know
it's not a whinny bago. No. So we're going to go up to the avenue now, where they've been planting some trees, all sorts of trees, from oaks to hawthorn,
hazel,
Lombardy poplar, I think you said.
Yes, that's right.
And a whole load of shrubs as well, which is great to see. And it was interesting actually, because Michael, who is one of the chaps behind this place, said that when they grow a whole load of plants and stuff, the shrubs, in order to get the grant to do that, they have to plant trees as well, which is fantastic.
Yep, brilliant.
So that's very good.
And he was very specific on which ones he went for as well.
Yes.
And obviously he has to take into account which plants and trees are poisonous or hazardous to horses, toxic to horses.
Presumably what will grow in the soil
exactly.
in here in West Sussex near Uckfield.
He used a lot of the old countryside knowledge as well.
Yeah.
I think the term he used was actually pagan, but you know.
So we're walking up the avenue here. There's an electric fence obviously to keep the horses in, and curiously you'll see it's double fenced. In other words, there's two fences, and in the in-between is where all these plants are actually planted. And the reason that they've been double fenced is as soon as they start to grow and the small leaves come out and all of that,
fresh shoots.
Yeah, all the shoots, the horses of course would nibble on them, and that would decimate them. We can see some horses, oh no, these are the donkeys we're coming up to, in the field ahead. Now, I have to say I'm very ignorant about horses, donkeys and ponies, but you're not. So what's the difference between a donkey and a pony?
Donkeys are a different species
Okay.
altogether. They're not the same, you know, I mean,
not the same animal?
no, unlike horses and ponies, they are the same.
What's the
but
difference between ponies and horses then?
It's conformation and size.
Conformation?
Conformation as in the length of the head to the neck to the back, and the length of the...
Oh, I see. But they are basically the same species?
They are the same species, essentially.
Right. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Donkeys, they're more closely related to zebras, actually.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. There we are. Let's have a look at some of them. They're just on our right. Here we go. And they're grazing merrily. They seem very nice. I think Michael was saying that they do like to pair up. They're bonding animals. Is that right?
They are very, very emotional animals. Very intuitive, and they're much more happy with a buddy, with a close friend that they can spend their life with.
Didn't Michael say that if his buddy dies, then they get very upset?
They require certain grieving processes, like they require to see the body of their fallen companion.
Gosh, to understand the process.
To allow the grief to happen.
Well, that is amazing. We're just going to pass two more, and then we're going to get up to the horses.
These beautiful things. Hello, sweethearts. Hello.
So we traversed up the avenue a little bit, and we're now coming to these very, I have to say, magnificent horses. And if you look at them closely, or look at where they're in, the field has got the most amazing long grass, which is incredible. And they're all feeding ever so well. I think Julia has found a horse and fallen in love.
Yes.
So sadly, Julia, you've not owned a horse, but you've been
no.
very interested in horses all your life.
I've always adored them. I mean, I grew up in Saudi Arabia, as you know, so I didn't really see horses out there. I saw plenty of camels.
Right.
Because when we finally moved back to England, suddenly I could see horses being ridden and everything. I was like, oh,
and there's lots of them here. Where do these horses come from?
Well, some of them are from the racing industry.
Yeah.
Some of them are from private ownerships. Some of them might have been from farms who couldn't care for them any longer. I mean, I don't personally know, but these are the general places.
The general thing.
Yeah, but one of the worst problems is the traveller types. Yeah,
right.
I mean, they'll just
pitch
up their horses anywhere, you know, and tether them.
And just abandon them.
And they'll abandon them at the drop of their hat if they've got a problem horse or they don't know what to do with it. They'll just leave it, often in a terrible state.
So there's some more right down at the far end. Shall we go and see them? Because they're slightly different, aren't they?
They are. These ones are the ponies.
Ah, so right, okay. So these are horses. I'm just getting my thing around them. And the thing I often think is that I don't know everything. Clearly, don't know much about horses, ponies, and donkeys. But then there'll be other people like me who also don't know. and I think it's important then it may seem very obvious to many people, but to others, especially non-country people, people in towns and things, they don't get to see this sort of thing very frequently.
The funny thing is, I'm not really a country person either. I mean, like I say, I grew up in Saudi Arabia for 6 years and then Kuwait for 18 months at least. So, I've spent half of my childhood in the Middle East. It wasn't in the countryside at all, it was desert.
Yes. I think girls often have more association with horses because a lot of girls want horses. It's less popular for blokes.
There is just something so magical about the horse himself, themselves. They are, a graceful creature. There's much to be admired about them.
So horses through history, of course, have had a massive role with farms and as working animals, and I guess
and as travelling,
and for travelling purposes and for transport, of course. And those roles have now been supplanted very much by mechanical devices. Obviously, we have tractors, we have lorries, we have wagons and things,
and cars and bicycles.
And indeed we do. And of course the horses then have had to find, or the owners of horses have had to find other reasons to own them, I'm guessing, such as racing them, taking them to shows, that sort of thing. But these are ponies and they look amazing, don't they?
Absolutely adorable. Careful, this fence is still...
Oh, it's on, is it?
Electrified.
I've got an electric fence in front of me. They certainly are attracting the flies. Yeah, they're amazing animals, all these different things. And it's amazing that a place like this, the sanctuary, is only kept going by legacies, by it's a trust, and so the generous donations of the public mostly, perhaps a little bit of corporate stuff, but
fundraising days and stuff.
And they are open, and you can come, I think, on Sundays. We'll put the information up for you so you can check out where they are and come and have a look at some of these animals.
This is a thoroughly amazing place. I mean, it's well kept, it's well thought out, it's well managed. I'm thoroughly impressed.
They've got some celebrations coming up later on in the year. We'll put more information about that. But in the meantime, from the lovely Julia and I, thank you so much for watching. And watch this space, because I think we'll be coming back to do some more here. In the meantime, from all the lovely ponies and the donkeys, and from Uckfield in Sussex, goodbye.
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 Till the next time.
Right, race you down the avenue.
I'm going to win.
Yeah, I know.